Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about the featherweight finale for the Road to UFC tournament. And it's between Yi Jia and Jeong Lee. I'm going to call them Yi and Lee. Yi, the Chinese fighter, is 21-3. That's his main virtue coming into this fight. His experience. He's got more experience than any of these other guys coming from the tournaments. And even though it's a long resume, it's still not a deep resume. I mean, he's fought largely dog shit competition, just utter dog shit. But he's beaten just about everybody, and he's beaten some nice guys too. You know, the guy Mitsushima, even though it was a split decision, he got by him in his last fight. And he's a guy where experience is his virtue. He's won and lost every which way. He's been 5 rounds before, and he's a grinder. Relentless grinder. I think he's going to be up against it athletically, certainly in this fight. I think that could be the difference maker. But he's a guy that I think if you don't take him out of there and you put him in a position where he's got to dig deep, he's going to dig deep. So he has a good chance of winning this fight, in my opinion. But still, he's been defeated 3 times. Once by a body kick early in round 2, very early. Once by a heel hook early in round 1. And once by decision. They're all to solid fighters. None of them UFC level, but solid fighters. And the one guy that beat him by heel hook had a 5-9 record, which is dog shit. But after that, he went on a 10-fight winning streak or something like that, and has only lost once since. So it's not the prettiest win on paper, but prettiest loss, I should say, on paper. But when you add a lot of context, maybe it's forgivable. I don't know. Anyway, he does have wrestling, and he is a grinder, and that's the kind of thing that could expose a newcomer. Not that Lee is a total newcomer. He's got 10 fights, but still, this is both of them trying to level up here, and only one of them is going to be right. And there's a chance that's Yi. I do think there's value on him. He's a plus 195 underdog. I would really find more value in him winning like a decision or a late finish, but there's no props there. But my pick is Lee. And I do think Lee wins via knockout. Doesn't mean I won't bet on Yi, but Lee via knockout is my pick, and I do think the under at 1.5 rounds pretty much covers Yi's path to victory. Again, there are no prop bets, and Lee has a minus 245 money line. That's dog shit. But Lee is a guy I trust more. He's a very good athlete, really sharp, bigger, stronger. He's got 3 inches of height, 3 inches of reach. I think he's got great range management, really good offensively, defensively, slips and rips. And he's got incredibly sharp hands, really sharp hands. Just a lot of power too, but really the technique, it's visible. And I think, it could get him in trouble, the fact that he loves to throw down so much. It almost had already. He had one fight against this guy, Choi, where I thought he was staggered briefly, but regardless, in that moment, he bit down on his mouthpiece and threw down and ended up dropping the guy a few times. And then he beat the shit out of him for the rest of the fight, pretty much. But still, this is a fight where someone's going to be wrong, and I think it's all going to come down to the wrestling. I'd like to say we're going to know what happens in round 1. If Yi can find success with his wrestling, I do think, just the grinder with the experience, he wins this fight. But I'm going the other way. I think he's not going to find success with his wrestling, going up against a much stronger athlete in Lee. And I think Lee is going to find a victory here. Yeah, probably with his hands. He's really sharp, and I think he's going to make use of that reach advantage. So I like the under at even money. That's pretty much my only bet on Lee, really. Although, Yi could win in under 1.5 rounds. But that's just a bet on the wrestling failing, pretty much. And Yi Jia plus 195, I'm still mulling it over. I'm not going to lie. I wish there were, props available, but there are no props. Regardless, enjoy the fights. I do think these road to UFC fights are going to bring some excellent fights. I think we're going to get a lot of excitement here. There's definitely a lot of talent. I know there's only 4 of these fights here, but some of these guys are going to stick around, no doubt. Certainly the winners, anyway, for a brief time. But like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.